everyone, my name is Lindsay and I am the host for Lounge with Lindsay. This is a show where we like to discover all of the new individuals who are making a huge wave in our communities. I'm talking about entrepreneurs, I'm talking about trailblazers, I'm talking about the people who are really on the up and up. And for today's guest, we have a special person. His name is Peter Jean-Marie, and he is a fashion designer here in the Southwest Florida area. So we're going to take some time to get to know him a little bit. So stay tuned for more. The honor, the privilege to be interviewing the one and only Peter Jean-Marie. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on my show. I really appreciate you just coming out and taking the time to interview with me. Okay. You know you're part of history, right?
I am.
You're a part of history because this is the first. This is the first. So when we blow up,
all right,
please believe me.
Nah, I believe you now. Just wanted to just genuinely congratulate you on your first show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for letting me be your first interviewee. And I feel good, you know?
I feel great.
I feel good. So I was here first. All right, I'm saying it before the next people you may have, the next guest. So I did it first.
That's right.
So I'm here. I'm a trendsetter and
a go-getter.
Yeah.
And you know what they say about your first? You'll never forget them. So we'll never forget you, Peter.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into it. I let the people know already that you are a fashion designer. So tell us, Peter, what actually inspired you to get into fashion?
All right, so I first started at the age of 16. I did not always want to be a fashion designer. I was trying to get into acting, but I fell into modeling, and my agent, who was Naples based at the time, she seen me off of Facebook, thought I was a handsome young man, and from there we met in person, set up a meeting, and even though I did start off as a model, I wanted to get on the creative side of fashion.
Yeah.
I wanted to model my own clothing.
Okay.
So that's pretty much where the seed started. And from there, I guess a year later, at the age of 17, well, at the age of 16, I started looking at design schools. And by the time I was 17, I was already accepted to the school that I wanted to go to. And so pretty much the idea of being a fashion designer all came from wanting to model my own clothing. That was it.
Yeah, the seed started, but however you watered that seed, and it just kind of came along as you just went through life.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, I know that you are into fashion, but specifically you design ties and more so items like that. What else do you do besides that?
So I know that most locals, they know me for the line of neckties,
yes,
but I actually started off with blazers and bomber jackets.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started that in college. I used to customize bomber jackets and blazers for football athletes.
That's genius.
And from there, everything just started to become a word of mouth to the point where schools such as University of Florida, I'm just gonna name them, but they started booking me to like showcase like my line of blazers and do a whole fashion show. So
wow, okay. So just to transition on, like, how would you describe your sense of style?
I'd say dress casual, a mixture of both, not too dressy, but in between, like what I'm wearing now, jeans and just
But we see the Gucci, coat. We see the Gucci sneakers though, like that.
Yeah, so
don't be too humble now. There we go. We see them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would also just wanted to caveat, like, are there any inspirations that you have in mind, especially in the fashion industry? Like, is it Michael Kors? Is it Tom Ford? Like, what is like your fashion inspiration?
Yeah, so if I were to compare myself to another label brand, it would be Hugo Boss. So I like their brand. Their brand is literally just casual.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a good guess.
but out of every brand, my favorite brand is called Loro Piana.
I've never heard
So
of
that's
that.
a high-end Italian brand.
Mm-hmm.
They make everything out of cashmere, from blazers,
Mhm.
socks, jeans, jackets, hats, and they're well known for creating just about everything out of one material,
Mhm.
cashmere.
Okay. So the highest, the highest quality
Correct.
we're talking about.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Right. As a entrepreneur, as a fashion designer, a lot of people love to hear the highs of entrepreneurship. But my question to you is, what has been your biggest obstacle thus far? Or not even that, what has been like your lowest point um, as an entrepreneur and as you've been on this journey? Can you tell the people that?
Yeah, definitely. I would say my biggest obstacle would be ego, and my lowest.
Talk about it.
Yeah. And my lowest point, I'm actually going through it right now. Yeah. So this is my lowest point, and sometimes you get to a point. So for me, I would say my whole ego thing started going on when I started, seeing the money, the dollar bill, and I could say personally, I just lost track of investing more into my creative side.
Mhm.
But once I seen the dollar sign, I started, treating myself,
Yeah.
celebrating a bit too early, and
Yeah.
just buying the things that I've always wanted. And sometimes money could do that to you, especially if you never had it before, and especially if you've never had if you were never taught financial literacy growing up from a young child up. So I'm actually grateful, for my setbacks and for that obstacle, because it just allowed me to know myself as a person, and to know what not to do the next time I come to a certain opportunity, as I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I can appreciate, Peter, is vulnerability. You just saying that you're currently at your lowest point and you're currently experiencing, that low point right now in your journey. I think that people, when they sit down and they watch this interview, they could really relate to you. And I think what's so important as an individual is being relatable to people. You're a public figure, on Instagram and on social media, but no one gets to see that vulnerable side of you going through kind of like the pits and the motions of being up high and now kind of being down low. But I always believe that one saying that every setback is an opportunity for a comeback.
Correct.
So please believe that your comeback is right around the corner.
Yes.
Mr. Peter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. Just to bounce off of that, what advice would you give someone as a young entrepreneur that is wanting to do the same things that you're doing? What advice would you give to them trying to get into this industry?
To start now, I feel like the earlier, the sooner you start, the better. You don't have to have every single thing. As for me, I thought that I needed to have a full collection in order to start a clothing line, but in my case, I just started with one product, a necktie, and little did I know, I had no clue that was gonna, pretty much give me some type of publicity and notoriety. But yeah, just start now. Start with what you have, and with that, like for example, I'm a man of faith, so. For some of you guys who've heard the story about David, who defeated Goliath, he had a rock. Well, my rock was a necktie. So my giants was pretty much the unknown, not knowing what I would get out of it. And with my faith, I threw the necktie in the industry, and it did a little.
You knocked that Goliath down.
Yeah, it didn't do too much damage, but it did start something.
It did.
Yeah.
It catapulted you to, your next season of life. Okay. So that's amazing. So I always like to ask people, what is next for you? Like, Peter Jean Marie, what would you call this chapter in your life right now?
I would call this chapter uh, trying trying to figure it out. That's what I would call it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like right now I'm just in a awkward position where I'm not sure how to react. To be honest.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'm just in a awkward position.
Okay.
And I'm honestly I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
The vulnerability. Yeah. I love it. I love it because it's so real. And I always feel like, I could relate to that as well. I feel like I'm in a awkward stage in my life right now. It's like, what's next? What am I doing? I'm jumping into this, I'm jumping into that. But I feel like that is where your faith is tested the most, and that's where God really does show out for you. So, don't feel any type of way of like, okay, I thought that I'd be here at this stage in the game of life, but now I'm here, so this feels a little weird and uncomfortable. Just being, kind of like, what's next? Like, so I love that. Chapter unknown.
That's a better title.
Yeah,
chapter unknown.
Chapter unknown. So as you know, with Lounge with Lindsay, we do like to cater to individuals who are making an impact in their community, especially in their realm of influence. So how do you use your influence to impact the community?
I can use an example. For example, I could say in 2020, the pandemic year. So that year, January, the Ritz-Carlton offer came into play, and I had like full line just
Can you
ready.
Tell us a little bit about this Ritz-Carlton opportunity?
Yeah, sure.
In case the people don't know.
Yeah, so before that opportunity was presented to me, I was still at the mall, at a kiosk, still selling neckties, and I just received one phone call, and they're like, "Hey, can we speak to Peter Jean Marie?" I'm like, "Yes, this is me." And then they're like, "We would like to carry a line of your neckties." And I said, well, at the time I said, "I'm with the customer right now. I'm gonna call you back." So it didn't hit me.
No, clearly.
Yeah. So the first time,
like my customer.
Yeah. So it didn't really hit me till 3 days later. I was like, "Hold on, this is a Ritz. This is like a major retailer who is, giving me the opportunity to, have them carry my brand." So I called them back, and when I called them back, the opportunity wasn't there anymore. I had to do some Peter Jean Marie work. I'm not gonna go in too much details.
You had to charm them. What did you have to do?
I had to be an entrepreneur. So after the opportunity was rejected, when I reached out to them, it took me three tries for them to reinstate it. Okay. So that was at the end of 2019, and then 2020, they were getting ready to carry my brand, and then the pandemic hit, and I worked with different manufacturers. At the time, I was creating my own neckties, but the demand was too high, so I had to collaborate with different manufacturers. Okay. So mine was coming from overseas, and the pandemic news broke. Right. Yeah, and the Ritz, they called me. They said, so the Ritz, they called me. They said, "We want what we paid you back. We want a refund. We don't want anything from overseas. The pandemic is here." And that was a scary moment for me. Because, the money, as I told you, I was financially illiterate. So I definitely did splurge a little bit, spend on myself. And I had no clue how I was going to pay them back. So, so back to answer your question about how did I use my talent to pretty much give back to the community. Yes. So despite the whole Ritz-Carlton dilemma, I don't care what anybody says, but I was the very, very first one to actually start customizing face masks. And the material that I used were germ proof, and I donated thousands of them to, starting with NCH, of course, but I donated thousands of them to different healthcare providers, and that's how I pretty much used my talent, because I knew that there was a shortage.
Yes.
And yeah, I was literally creating them from scratch, and this was around March, and then
at the peak of the pandemic.
Correct, and then next thing you know, other people started creating face masks, this and that. I did receive credit for it, probably not as soon as I thought I would have, and probably not as big as I thought I would have, but that's pretty much how I used my talent and gave it back to the community.
Well, you definitely served the community in the fullest capacity, because of the pandemic, we all like to forget like it never happened, but that was a scary time.
Yes.
You know, that was a really scary time. So for you to just donate all of these masks at a time where there was a shortage of masks and PPE and all that, you know, sort of stuff, and not really getting the credit that you know, should have rightfully received, I'm just going to say this: thank you for doing what you did during that scary time. That to me is so incredible. So incredible in a way to give back into the community.
Yeah, my pleasure. So here's my testimony that same year. So back to the whole Ritz-Carlton dilemma. So I guess when you do give, you do receive back.
Yes.
So the Ritz-Carlton deal broke around January to March, and sometime around September, I received a phone call, and it was them. And then they're like, "Hey, can we speak to Peter Jean-Marie?" My heart is beating, because I'm thinking they're gonna ask to pay up, but literally what they said was, "Where's the neckties? We need them." And then I'm like, I'm on my way. I'm coming.
You got them.
And you know, I delivered them, and yeah. And I just called it a day. I didn't question it.
No, that was God.
Yeah, I didn't do the whole, I thought you said, no, I just,
Let's just pick up where we left off.
Correct.
So Peter, I see that you have a little something in your bag there. You know, for the people who don't know your designs, you do have some sketches of your designs.
Yeah.
And the people would like to see what you got going on here.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you mind just giving us a little sneak peek?
Yes. So I'm gonna just share with you all just one collection.
That's great.
So fun fact: the Saks Fifth Avenue, the women's wear buyer and the men's buyer and the CEO of Saks, they've seen this collection, and this collection is actually for them. And so let me tell you, just right before I show you this, so in 2021, Saks Fifth Avenue, they called me and they gave me an opportunity to showcase my collection to them. However, they weren't just asking for sketches. I have to manufacture them, and we're talking on a high-end level.
Yes.
And yeah, and it's costly. So literally between 2021 and now, I had been trying to secure the right investor for me so that I could go ahead and proceed and get my stuff into Saks and to manufacture these things, which I haven't yet. So that's where I'm talking about the whole low point.
Yes,
where,
the low.
Yeah, so it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna show you, give you a sneak peek on one of my collection. So
take a look.
So this is it right here. So the theme is called metallic texture. This collection has been ready since 2018. It's still 2018, so I always plan ahead. And here's some of my materials. So this is brocade, jersey.
I like brocade.
There's leather, cotton, and these are just some of my. This right here. These are called flats. So that's the blueprint for clothing.
I love it. and it does inhibit your style that you talked about, that kind of cool,
Yeah.
not too flashy, but still like, I'm in the room, I'm here. Love it.
So definitely just casual. And I actually did create one of the pieces in real life. And
That's it?
yeah, this right
Love
here.
it.
Yeah. So I would say my
That's fun.
my clientele, my clothing for this collection would definitely be for like athletes, celebrities. This is more of a dress to impress type of collection.
Sophisticated.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And yeah. So that's just the one and only collection that I'm gonna share.
Thank
with
you.
all.
Thank you. That's all we get, but that was more than enough. Thank you so much for just giving us a little peek on the metallic collection and everything that you got going on. We love it.
Thank
so
you.
I'm gonna just turn the page a little bit on the interview and make this just a little bit more fun.
Okay.
So we're gonna play a game.
All right.
It's a fun little game. It's called Two Truths and a Lie.
All right.
Okay. So I got some cue cards here. I got some pens, and you're gonna have to write down 2 truths about you and then 1 lie. And I'm gonna have to figure that out. And I'm gonna do the same in return. Okay. So you're gonna have to figure out 2 truths about me and that 1 lie, and we'll just make it a little fun. Sounds
right.
good?
Yes.
Correction, half inch ahead for the year, and 1 in 5,300ths behind for the year so far. We'll be looking for a little bit of a change tomorrow, and of course the possibility of some scattered showers. Today, of course, there's nothing.
Sorry for the chicken scratch, but let's trade off. And I'm gonna figure out your 2 truths and a lie, and you can figure out my 2 truths and a lie. Okay?
Okay.
Yours are funny. Okay. I already know your lie. So I'm gonna read what Peter said, okay? So number 1, he dated Coco Jones and has her number on speed dial. Number 2, NFL player Gary Gillum, is that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gary Gillum endorsed my brand. I feel like that's the truth. Hands down, I feel like that's the truth. Number 3, I'm related to Beyonce. Lies. Okay, so I'm gonna go with I dated Coco Jones. I believe that. I think that's the truth. I believe that you probably dated her. She's a beautiful woman, by the way. And then the NFL player one that endorsed your brand. I believe that is the truth. And then you being related to Beyonce, that's a lie.
All right. I guess you got it. I guess you got it right.
Did I really get it right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. So I'm gonna go with you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I have for you. You have 2 truths and 1 lie.
Yes.
You said I filed for bankruptcy last year. I'm gonna hope that's a lie. So I'll go with. I think that's a lie. I never lost an arm wrestling contest. I believe that. That's probably true. You look kind of strong to me.
See that.
And I have photographic memory. Okay, I could believe that.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So was I right?
You're correct. I never lost an arm wrestling contest in my life. So anyone that wants to challenge me, I'm up for the challenge.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not trying to embarrass you, Peter, on my show. I'm not trying to do that. Right. Well, that was a fun little game I wanted to play. So, Peter, once again, thank you so much for joining Lounge with Lindsay. And again, I thank you because you are our first ever guest. So you are part of history. Okay. Just taking the time out to come out here and interview with me, like I said, is an honor and a privilege. So thank you so much. Okay?
Yes. Thank you for having me. Shout out to the videographers, Peter Jean-Marie, the one and only. That's ego kicking now. I'm still working on that. So be sure to check me out, Google me, and yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you guys for tuning in.